You're live. Hello, I'm live. Okay, cool. All right, everybody. Hello, welcome to Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso. 1 minute late.
Your work can feel much smoother with
Hang on, still not all the way. Having some technical difficulties.
No, it's not. You're fine.
Okay. Please subscribe if you have not. Please hit the like button if you like these videos. I'm going to answer questions towards the end of the live stream. What's wrong? Oh, you're looking at me like, okay. I'll answer questions towards the end, and this is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to talk about the illegal tobacco trade in federal prison. I actually wrote a story about this a long time ago, and I'm just going to go ahead and, that's so broad. There's so many different facets or whatever to it. I can go on for days about this. So let me just talk about firsthand experience. So when I got to the feds in 1998, there was still tobacco in the joint. People still bought tobacco. I smoked Marlboro Reds, Marlboro Lights, and Bugler, primarily Bugler, because it was stronger and they're fun to roll. Anyway, it was 2003 when they started talking about doing away with tobacco in the feds. Every prison had a different way of taking tobacco out of the prison. At Lewisburg, where I was when it went down, Warden Joseph Smith called a town hall meeting, said that the Bureau of Prisons was removing tobacco from all its facilities. And he gave us, I want to say 9 months to prepare. They offered nicotine patches. We can go to talk to the psychologist, but really he was giving us 9 months to stock up on tobacco. Let's just say what it was. So at that time, I had a very, very big store. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. My store, if it wasn't the biggest, it was the second to a guy named Basic, who was out of the Bronx. So what I did was, in the last 4 months before tobacco was officially taken off the commissary, was have everybody that owed me money order tobacco. I had at one point over 50 cartons of Marlboros in my locker. There was literally hundreds of cartons of Bugler, not packs, cartons. There's 12 packs in a carton. My cellie during this time was a guy named Jack West. If you guys are from, anybody's out there is from Iowa, you know who Jack West is. I believe his real name was Monty Hall. I understand there was a big issue behind him, and he changed his name, and he was this and that before he did that and this. I didn't know that at the time, but I know that there will be people watching this that know who Jack West was, whatever. Jack was my cellie at the time for a short period. And what he did was run around the unit and knock holes in walls. He found a really good stash spot so we can put the bugler in, and then he would patch the wall back up. So these are center blocks. Literally get a hammer, knock holes in the wall, and then patch them back up. Now, these holes and patches were all over the prison, so it didn't look out of place whatsoever. So I think he put 20 cartons of Bugler, and man, I ought to be lying, 50 for sure, something like that. The cartons that I had, put them all, we were able to put them, shove them into the wall, and they were down below the staircase when you went downstairs in a F block. And this is at USP Lewisburg. Also, I had cases of sodas that line the back of our wall. Now, behind our bed, there was a walk space. The walk space was designed so that officers who were doing bar checks on the windows that is walking around and doing taps on the windows to make sure the bars weren't loose that we were trying to escape, can walk behind the bed. Well, I filled them all up with cases of sodas, and I had them, like I said before, about shoulder high, just the whole back of my bed. We took sandpaper and we sanded down cans, soda cans. And when you sand them down, eventually they pop. And the top of the lid opens right up. And I mean, it's a perfect stash spot. So then we filled them all. It was 11 packs of Bugler fit in a can. We couldn't get 12. It was 11 packs and 11 packs of rolling papers per can. And we're just stuffing them and stuffing them. I mean, we spent like a month doing all this stuff, just every night prepping tobacco, stashing tobacco. And we were not near the only ones. Everybody was stashing tobacco that could. Now, also in the beginning, of course, I was upset that they took away cigarettes. I smoked, and then I started chewing, dipping tobacco. Once I started doing that, I didn't smoke too much. I used to love to dip 3 times a day, pretty much. That was and actually that was harder to get off than cigarettes. But I put a bunch of a dip aside too. And okay, so we patched the walls. The week that they stopped tobacco in Lewisburg. Now, let me back up real quick. Leavenworth stopped like a year before us. And I know stories, some of the same stuff happened. They were putting them in toilets, the old toilets underneath them there. And I bet to this day at all these prisons, there's tobacco that's stashed here and there from these days. So this was 05 or 06 when it was finally implemented. The policy was implemented at Lewisburg. Actually, I want to say it was January. Anyway, I was clean for some time. After I found out I had cancer, and hepatitis C. So I got diagnosed with hepatitis C, then bladder cancer within a year of each other. They put me on interferon or Pegasus, so Hep C treatment. And after I did that, I was clean that was the first time, almost a little over 2 years. I think it was 26 months. And I relapsed after a decision came back from the court that didn't grant my successive 2255. In a nutshell, 3 of the 6 people who testified against me recanted, and many people thought I was going home. Myself and a lot of attorneys down in Arkansas. The night that I lost, I immediately went upstairs to the 3rd floor and I talked to a guy that I knew from DC, and I got heroin. And I started shooting heroin that night. And I kept on and kept on. Now, this guy had a bunch of bunk dope. He was stuck because his people brought this package in. He had expected to make all this money he had something to do with the girl on the street or one of his kids. I forgot what it was. But he was in a bad spot because it was shit. You had to do like a paper, and he was charging $50 a paper. So you had to do like 6, to really get good. Me just starting to get high again, having the connect right there, even though it was bunked out, I bought all of it. Day after day, I told him, don't sell it to nobody, I'll buy all of it. I started, I was doing like 7, 8 papers at a time. This is white dope. Money ran short, and I went to the tobacco spigot. I forgot how long it actually was, but from the day that they stopped selling tobacco to when I relapsed and actually needed money to go get some tobacco out. But I do know that I sold 50 cartons at $5 a pack, 12 packs in a carton. The day after I made this deal, on the yard, it was $5 a pack, maybe 10. I think it was double. So if a pack of Bugler was like, let's just say it was $2, it was like $5. Anyway, the day after I sold out, The very next day, it went up to $50 a pack. So everything that I had could have been $50 a pack. And trust me, there was guys there that would buy everything you had if you would sell it like that, not even ask for a deal in bulk. Now, I went to I was sick because after the dope runs out and tobacco's gone and you just realize you start counting up in your head all the money you lost. You're just like, what a fucking idiot I am. Went to FMC Butner, January 2007 for bladder cancer. When I came in, SIS had pulled me up. There was a couple other regular officers there, and they were trying to figure out whether they were going to lock me down because I'd come from a USP, because I had so many disciplinaries on my jacket. There was like five shots of violence, whatever it was, and I had a referral for ADX Marion at one time, and I had gang leader stuff on my jacket. One of them did not want to let me out. That means they wanted to keep me locked in the whole time. Another one did. In the background, there was two officers that were younger, both black. They were just listening to everything that was going down. A couple days went by. They let me out. They said I can go out. A couple days went by, and this officer sees me and comes and approaches me. Actually, he came and found me. And because he'd heard them talk about me, that's the cops. And then I said I had a life sentence, and I went into the whole spiel about they offered me 2 years and I didn't tell, and blah, blah, blah. He heard all this stuff. He pulled up on me and asked me if I wanted to make some money. And that was for tobacco. I told him yes, but I had no desire to make any money. The only thing I wanted to do was get cigarettes to trade for pills. The FMC Butner was full of pills. Hydrocodone, oxycodone, morphine, blah, blah, fentanyl patches. It was loaded. So once a month, I actually told them how to do it. Don't send money to an address that's associated with you. Pick a cousin, a relative. I'll have my people do it. Express mail or whatever. And that lasted for 6 months, I think it was. And I got in trouble. Yeah, 6 months. I got busted for a dirty urine or something. And he ended up going to a different facility. So the tobacco in the hospital, there was plenty of tobacco. Again, I got a carton and I would trade it for pills. Let me tell you. So the Butner complex is 5 prisons. You've got the hospital as a hub, the low, the camp, the FCI 1, and the FCI 2. The FCI 1, 2, the low, and the camp all go, if inmates are sick, they all go to the hospital. The camp just walks over there. The other guys are bussed from their facilities, and they used to be sent to the second floor to ambulatory care. And everybody from all these joints can meet up in one room. You got guys in wheelchairs. You got guys that just walked over from the camp. And it was just Contraband center. So people would come from the camp with cigarettes, give it to Joe Blow, who was going back to the Deuce. He would load up his wheelchair, stuff his wheelchair full of it. He'd take tobacco to the Deuce. I mean, there was just this big network of this tobacco industry going on inside that hospital. I put it out there now because I just talked to somebody a couple days ago that was at Butner. Yes, things go on just like in every prison, but it wasn't. He was talking about how the guards were talking about these times. Things have changed. So now that things have changed, putting it out there like that again, and everybody in those institutions know what's going on. So this isn't some secret squirrel shit. At Butner 1, I got clean, and I didn't do any kind of hustling, and nothing whatsoever, nothing. The most ingenious tobacco smuggling operation I saw, and they got popped off, was a guy's cousin worked out at the camp and worked in facilities, and they would stuff the dryers with tobacco, and then his cousin that was in our unit would go break the washer and dryers, and then two new ones would come over and they'd just do repairs and they'd be all stuffed full of tobacco. That lasted a long, long, long time. And that was pretty awesome. That those dudes made so much money. It was worth when they got knocked off. It was so worth it. But that was sweet for those dudes. I hated the washer and dryer issues because we always had broken ones because they broke it because they were sending tobacco over. But I mean, can't hate somebody for making money like that. But I remember a guy that was there that was broke. He had nothing. He had 90 days to go home. Cops used to stay outside in front of you and smoke cigarettes or chew tobacco. Smoke cigarettes, throw the butts down. For those of you that don't know, people, lots of inmates just scour the grounds looking for cigarette butts that the cops have dropped. Uh, this guy worked in the yard or compound orderly, so he's sweeping up. He knew the spots where the cops smoked. He started picking tobacco butts up off the ground, and guy made like $1,000. Then some heroin hit, 3 grams for 1,000. This dude took that $1,000 he made from tobacco, flipped it into stamps or straight money. I'm not really sure. I honestly don't know that. And bought this heroin and then papered up this heroin and sold and left the institution in 90 days with over $5,000-6,000. So that was off tobacco that's otherwise legal in the streets, but it's illegal in prison. When I went to Butner 2, and there's guys that watch this that were there with me, I started really thinking about this whole tobacco thing that they had going on, and it just made me realize like how foolish the policy was. Now, granted, I'm glad that tobacco left out of the Bureau of Prisons because people got healthy. Well, I don't know if they got healthier. I think people got fatter. People are getting more unhealthy because of the food that they're serving. It's just a mess. But the black market that opened up, just to be able to witness it, I guess like during Prohibition, it would have been the same thing. But just to watch that happen, to see tobacco be legal and then go, and then everything that changed the because of the prohibition on tobacco. You had guys that were smokers that were otherwise really good guys, had honorable names, didn't do scumbag stuff, didn't do drugs, that all of a sudden are running up big bills and checking in. So they're going into protective custody because they ran up all these bills because tobacco's, the most addictive drug there is. Well, the only thing I would say that tops that is that K2 or whatever, the synthetic marijuana. And I ain't never seen nothing like that. Tear apart Federal Bureau of Prisons. And I'll do one on that one day. But I started really thinking about the cost of money over this tobacco stuff. I guess one of the goals was to save money long term on inmate health care. So the feds give out all this time. They give these guys boatload of sentences, life sentences for drugs, whatever. And now if they go to prison and they smoke, then they're more likely to be unhealthy, which costs the Bureau of Prisons money. So if you take away the tobacco, the theory went that they'd probably be more healthy. They haven't thought about the shitty food they're serving that's causing all this crazy stuff. But was it worth it? So did the money actually pan out when it came to transporting and housing protective custody cases? All of the people that check in and have to be transferred because of tobacco, because they're selling it and get caught, because they're smoking it and checking in, just this whole other dark industry that it created that costs the Bureau of Prisons so much money. Seems like they probably should have just left tobacco. I don't know. I'd like to actually see the numbers on that. At Butner 2, it was the guards, food service. 2 food service cops got knocked off bringing in drugs and tobacco. Really, there's more money in tobacco than dope, and it's safer. So I don't know why staff would really risk much else these days. But But in the Butner complex, I mean, there was 7 staff members a year getting popped off bringing in contraband. Um, I did write a story while I was in Butner too, called The Illegal Tobacco Trade in Federal Prison. Now, there's some people on here, they're like, oh, you're snitching, you're telling. Well, I was writing in prison about things that were going on in prison and and walking around just fine. There was people that had a few things, grumbles and stuff like that. But as out here, I don't have that kind of fear in me where I would let somebody else, their opinion of me dictate what I'm going to do. So I'm not saying that I didn't see anything wrong with doing it. I was writing about stuff that had already happened, that was already knowledge within the complex. The only difference was when you put on the internet, then you have the media that are now hip to it. Uh, I was really wanting to expose the absurdity and the stupidity of the whole tobacco ban, uh, because of the black market that it created. Now, again, it was nice that there's no more tobacco. You don't have to smell it all the time. Well, it's not true because people still are smoking, and guys want to smoke. If guys want to smoke and it's not interfering with other people, meaning if they're smoking it outside or if you got 2 cellies, then they should be able to. That's just my opinion. Uh, it was actually inmates that started the whole that started the process of which led to tobacco being removed. Inmates filing. I know one. I did a video about the guy that got cut in the face, Bruce Pierce. I mean, Bruce, not Pierce, Neighbors. Real big filer about the tobacco. You know, he didn't get beat up or hurt or nothing, but I mean, he was openly saying I didn't want tobacco. He wanted smoke-free units and blah blah blah. But people are doing that all over the Bureau of Prisons. There's guys that do their time by filing. Most of them file frivolously. God, I can't even say the word. But some of them learn after a while. I've had periods where I filed quite a bit. I learned how to do them. I actually got pretty good. By the way, convictinc.net, if you want to hire me to do administrative remedies for anybody inside prison, I'm a beast at administrative remedies. Anyway, let me get back on point. So I wrote I wrote an article, The Illegal Tobacco Trade in Federal Prison, which pissed staff off because it made them look foolish. That was one of the things that they went to Joey Testa over and said, hey, Joey Testa, Rosso's making us look bad. Joey pulled me up, who was totally for me writing this article until he was against me writing the article when his friends, the staff, came down on him to come down on me. And he was unable to do anything to stop me. Now, what they did was this. One day I'm walking, I get locked up for no reason. And they said I was under investigation for something that I wrote. I had no idea because they were doing this to me all the time. Well, the guy that was on top of me who had his foot on my neck was named Bronner, 4 foot nothing, 4'11" or so, little short guy. I'd love to interview him one day. He had me locked up, comes to me and says, hey, a tobacco article you wrote. I said, yeah, it was like a couple months ago. He says, we need that taken down. I said, you need it taken down off what? Off all of your platforms. So I had convictinc.com, Convict International, Robert Rosso, Blogspot. There was probably 5 or 6. Oh, Seth, I think Seth had it up on Gorilla Convict. They came to me and said, take it down. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's been up. You reviewed it and let it get out of the institution. And now you're coming to lock me up for it. He said, yeah, we need it down. You get it down. We'll get you a phone call, have the phone brought to you, call Carly. Carly was a girl from England that came after Marta and was riding with me pretty tough for about a year or two. And I called her up. She was freaking out because I was in the hole. And I said, hey, take down the illegal tobacco trade from all my platforms and they'll let me out. Well, I did. I wasn't happy about it. I already had it plotted in my head that I was going to file on it because this is a freedom of this is definitely a First Amendment issue here. Real quick, everything I wrote, every email I wrote, every phone call I made was monitored by SIS. I was under SIS monitoring. If they allow something that I write to get out, and then it goes up, and then they come back and tell me to take it down, it's a really serious First Amendment issue. Nevertheless, I took it down. Didn't know why, didn't know what was going on. Uh, I took it down. The next day, I didn't get out of the hole. I didn't know why I didn't get out of the hole. So I got a phone, had a guy next to me call Carly and say, put all those articles back up. Well, about 2 or 3 days later, here comes like 20 guys on a tobacco sweep. And here's what happened. They had a staff member or two. I think it was the kitchen cop at the time that was bringing in tobacco, drugs, etc. And they didn't want my article up there because it was like spot on. Again, I was outlining all the things that had already happened. But because of the media attention surrounding me, or that I had a lot of media contacts, this just gave me like too much credibility. And again, the overarching theme of the article that I wrote was more of about a policy, a flawed policy, and how the Bureau of Prisons can do something really foolish and create this big black market that would otherwise have cops that would never turn. There's cops that would never, ever, ever bring in drugs. When I say cops, correctional officers. There's cops that would never, ever bring in drugs, but they'll bring in tobacco. Hell yeah. If you're talking about $500 or $1,000 for a carton, a lot of these guys, they have good jobs, but they got families. They start living beyond their means. You can make that kind of money, and it's like tobacco. Of course, they're going to crack. So that the Bureau of Prisons opened up a real big black market, and that's what the purpose of my article was about. It had nothing really to do with the inmates or inmates smuggling or this that. What? Not a clue. And I know I haven't read none of his comments yet. I'm sure there's some of them that are just going to whatever. But I'm promised my wife and so many of my supporters that I would leave that alone. But I got to have a video where I take them, where I do something. Anyway, so illegal tobacco trade in federal prison. Yeah, I honestly wanted to do Matt Hale's story tonight. The problem was a guy that's working on him, that's helping me fix this house. His helper didn't show up, and I needed to help him do some stuff, and I got stuck doing that, and I didn't have prep time. The Matt Hale story requires a lot of prep. And speaking of that, tomorrow night I will not be live. We are going to a high school event. A friend's son is in a high school play, and we're going to support them. The first time I've done something like that in years, but I'm looking really forward to that. Something different, something cool, something really normal, like I don't think I would have thought about doing something like this before. What? There's no dope. What? We're not going to be drunk. What? We're not going to, you know what I mean? It's like we're going to see a kids play. And that's kind of awesome, So won't be live, but I will do a video, and maybe if I can pull it up, off, the Hale video, we'll see what happens tonight and tomorrow. Oh shoot, I already know Marta's going to be we got things tomorrow. I don't know. I'll pull something. Maybe I'll drive and do something tomorrow while I'm driving. It's about an hour drive. I do like live way better. I do. And I'm Patreon. You people on there. I want the 12 o'clock. I want to start doing 12 o'clock. I would love to do 12 o'clock on YouTube. I don't think enough people are around. But I might do. We'll see. I would like 12 to 2. Yeah, I can, especially if I'm mixing criminal justice reform. On Patreon, I'm going to mix everything, probably politics, current events, race, who knows. Take it. I'm going to do it all. I got a lot to say. I got a blabbering mouth. So yeah, let's keep talking, right? All right. So if you guys want to weigh in on what you feel about the tobacco trade in federal prison, Please do so, or ask me questions and I'll answer them. I have, like I said, I see comments over here going up, but I haven't seen any yet. I got to put my glasses on. If you're going to talk shit about it, I won't answer it, even though I probably want to and say a bunch of stuff to you. It's cool. Jennifer, probably call you here in a little while. Strong girl, new friend, Jennifer. Yeah, I'll be calling you in a few. And those other 2 interviews, I'm going to call you guys tonight. We're going to get those done. And I'll let you guys know where I'm going to be on as far as the interviews I'm talking about, these 2, and then I'll let you know about the future ones. Okay, I'll leave that alone. I just wanted to talk. Somebody asked me about the illegal tobacco trade in federal prison before. Uh, I might, the next live, I'm thinking about doing the medication in Butner FMC back in the day. People wondered about drugs and how they get drugs in and this and that. It's not about that. It's about all the drugs that were in the FMC that were being passed out. There was people going to the FMC and picking up bags from different institutions, and I'll explain that, taking them to visitation, giving them to their girlfriends or wives, and they were taking them out and selling them on the street. That's how much dope at FMC Butner there was. And again, it stopped. It's not, no, it's not stopped. It's not like this. All hospitals have to have drugs, of course, but it's nothing like it was. Nothing like it was. And I just had that confirmed a couple days ago before I ran my mouth on here, and I didn't want to get it shut down if it's like wide open again. That's the truth. All right, so let me do a few comments. Okay, I hit the like in a minute. Thank you for hitting the like. I usually hit it before I enter. My name is Bengal Barn, the Bungee Boy. Somebody asked me to give them a shout out for their family tonight. Man, because I responded to you and said I would, I lost your comment because how I have it set up is only the ones I don't reply to, I can see. I lost it. I forgot your name. I had every intent to. That's why I was a minute late, because I was looking for it. So I apologize. I got no problem giving shout outs to people, especially the ones that have been around a long time. I'm starting to getting used to the names now. Chud call me Shank Dog. Okay, Shank Dog. Yeah, I agree with this guy. I think tobacco should be sold in the feds. Everyone is happy. Yeah, okay. Take vodka in water bottle. Take vodka. Okay, you want to know about booze? So when I was at Chino 1, this was after I got out of Central. Central's locked down. Family bring in picnic baskets. And in my family picnic basket, I had Jack Daniels in the Coke bottle. So bottle of Coca-Cola, open it up, don't break the ring, mix it. And I'd sit out there and get drunk. It was wonderful. Get high on the way to play. Take vodka. In Utah prison, they call me Philly because it's where I'm from. Okay. In PA, it's either money or red. All right, money or red. Love your channel, Rob. Thank you, Michael Hensley. David Lamb, good show, Rob. Makes me want to smoke. Can't believe the time bomb. What is red? Red, phosphorus. Okay. Wait, stop. Let me go back up. Money or red. Okay, Chase, live 215. Man, don't do it. Don't do it. Stop. Turn your life around. What's up, bro? Great show. John Fox, thank you, bro. The problem with Arizona is so much drugs. The problem with there is because we're next to the border. Sure you are. Sometimes it's free because flooded. Sure. So I knew a guy that lived on the border. Wow, that would probably be a good one. Robert. Man, I'd like to get a hold of that dude. I'd probably die out there. Huh? Free drugs in prison. Oh, man, wouldn't last. So free drugs. I had a prescription of Percocets, but like I said, I had that cop and I was able to get drugs, trade my cigarettes for drugs. And man, let me tell you, looking back on it now, like I was in it, I was in the moment, so it didn't matter. But now like I can see all the faces of the guys, and there was guys like that had like their voices removed from smoking. They're giving me their like pain medications. Well, I mean, I really have done a bunch of scumbag shit. Maybe I'm making, maybe this, me talking about it will make it all better. Arizona probably die. Andrew, can you explain how wine was made and how long it took? Sure. Clear bag, get a clear bag, trash bag, clear trash bag. get 10 apples, crush the apples, get 300 packs of sugar is ideal, but I have done it on as little as one. Apples actually take a long time and suck. People talk about you need yeast. Some people throw bread in. Some guys spit in the bag. You can just leave it and put some heat on it. It'll eventually turn anyway. And you let it sit. If you're in the hole and the hole has a shower, what you want to do is you want to take the bag, leave it in the shower, run it on hot water all the time. It kind of sucks if it's cold because your cell will get all the misty, damp and humid because of the hot water and the cold. But you just we used to rip a sheet, just like a little string of a sheet tied on the shower, and let the water drip down on that sheet and put that sheet down on the bag of wine at the bottom, so the warm water is running on it. Or at Leavenworth had these big crazy light fixtures. We used to set up bags of wine on top, strap the bag up there, and go. The quickest batch of wine I've ever got drunk off of was solid potatoes. We had a kicker, meaning we already had the germ. We already had a batch of wine. We took a pill bottle, and we got transferred. I say we, me and a bunch of dirty white boys, got transferred from the shoe to building 63. They took a kicker. As soon as we got there, we got a bunch of potatoes and had like 1,000 sugars. It was crazy. It was super hot in the summertime, and we ran hot water in the shower. That batch cooked off in like 30 to 36 hours, and it was super strong. Just solid potatoes. But it's just fermented fruit. Actually, you can take the mashed potatoes from that dry mix stuff. That works. There's so many things you would never think of work. The easiest, quickest in prison was the tomato paste. So like cans of tomato paste that you make sauce with. That's thick. You add a bunch of water to it, a bunch of sugar. You actually acquire a taste for it. Best wine was peach juice, like peaches out of a can, solid peach juice. That's probably the best tasting. Yeah, that was a lot of it. So, cool, Red. Can you explain how wine was made? Ramble on, Rob. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, many odds, bro. Now there, fentanyl. It's crazy, man. I'm not glorifying it. It's just the real. Yeah, many ODs, bro. Now, oh, the fentanyl stuff. Yeah. Did I ever come across any DWBs from Forest City Medical? Forest City Medical? Oh, Forest City Medium. No. So I know there was a bunch there, and that's where I was trying to actually get once upon a time. There was a big car there that they got. I think they crashed out with the ACs. So somebody has been sending me like photos of old DWBs that started from the beginning. I'd love to interview those dudes. And I just want to know about like the original thing, because we'd hear stuff. But what I was going to say is, when I got patched up in a pen, and I saw guys that would come up from mediums and how they were treated. So dirty white boys that started in a medium and then went to USPs. They were treated really, really bad by the brothers in USPs. So automatically I had the mentality that, oh, okay, these guys, my guys in USPs are right, because how would these guys be dirty white boys in mediums? Because we were always into shit. There's no way that you don't stay in the hole or stay in trouble or stay high. But I would see pictures from mediums of all these brothers that looked like they were like way better off than we were. They looked like they had more spreads, they hung out more, they were together more. So I think a lot of those guys, the dirty white boys from the mediums, had a lot more camaraderie than we did. Of course, there's going to be a few that do this or do that, but really looking back and seeing, looking at it through a different lens, I think those guys were doing better than us, even though we had that stupid shit that all the brothers in the lows and the mediums, man, they got a double, they had to go on like a double probation period. Yeah, I mean that's true. But I knew Jerry Wynn, who came from Forest City, Oakdale, and then went to the USPs, and Jerry was one of my one of my favorite bros. The drugs were so expensive in prison. How did you afford to be on heroin? Hard enough to stay well outside. Could only imagine how hard it was. Hello, when do you think you'll start the interviews? Soon on the interviews, okay? And so what do I don't want to. I don't want to promise. Okay, I've done this too much. I'm just starting to get to a balance where I can say something and actually follow through with it, and that's with all aspects of my life. Uh, okay, did you ever come across DW? It's a shame this heroin is ruining so many families. Holy shit. Is it a shit? Man, is it ever? That fentanyl, what the man, I know some guys that overdosed on cocaine with fentanyl in it. What the the drugs were so expensive. Okay, how did I afford it? I've said it before. So I had assets when I went to prison. I got busted. I had 21 vehicles, 4 houses, house trailers. I had some trailers, trailer trash shit. I got busted on a trailer that I had just built a basketball court, and I was building a tennis court and a gazebo and whatever else I was building a limousine out of what were we doing? 2 Ford Tempos. I was going to build a Ford Tempo limousine, and it chopped in half. Yeah. Tell me I wasn't flying high. Yeah. Okay, so my family too. Okay, yeah, my family. My family has spent well over $150,000 on me when I was in prison, and that's probably a low end. So yeah, not proud of it. Lied to them a lot. They weren't. Well, definitely my mom was not stupid. Wondered how it would have been if I'd have been cut off by family and friends, because it wasn't just family, it was friends too. And then Marta did too, but Marta wasn't so much supporting drug habit. That the Marta days were a little different, well, a lot different than prior to that. But I had family. Family would send. My mom never. I don't ever once remembering my mom saying no, and that's the truth. And that's another scumbag thing that I could admit. There were a few times when, she's like, Robert, I don't know how, I can't do it right now. And it's like, all right. And she's like, well, you can hear it in my voice is going to be a problem. So after I started doing clear conduct, like after I got it together, and then I relapsed because I was straight up clean for more than 3.5 years. When I started, that's when it was like, before, like, I didn't care if I fought or whatever, but I didn't want to get no more trouble. So that's when, if I used and if I ran up bills and if I needed big money, that's when I was really bad, because what I was implying was, if you don't send money, Mom, then I'm going to end up getting in a fight. And if I get in a fight, I'm not going to make it out of prison. That's real. And I would have, it's true. I wasn't, but I never said it that way. One time, I think I said there was going to be some kind of a problem. That was at Terra. That was Suboxone. Uh, I know who it was now too. And there was going to be a problem, but it wasn't like that. But so yes, people ask me about how did you afford all the heroin? $50 a paper, $500 a gram, 2 grams for 1,000 or 3 grams for 1,000. How did I afford it? Family. Yes, it was family and friends. I didn't burn all my bridges when I went to prison. That's true. And I was able to reach out for people all through the whole 24 years almost. That's true shit. Okay. Kansas City is the world's largest open air drug market. We have more from cheaper than anywhere in the world. Vice did a few documents. Chase Life 215. Okay. Dope Sick Nation was a series on it. Did you ever think if it would have chosen to join the AB, that would be in ADX with the rest of them? Did you ever think if you would have chosen to join the AB? Okay, so vandalize. I'll tell you the truth. So no, I never thought like I want to join or become an AB. What I did want was to go to the ADX. So Marion was also locked down. Why? Because okay, so a bunch of different reasons. I just mentioned the fact that my family took care of me. So there was times. So I had assets, I had some money, I burned through it. Uh, I couldn't get my hands on different stuff that I had. So my family, my parents, my mom specifically would send money. One time 7,000, one time like 5,000. So that did weigh on me. It's not like I just like did it and it didn't. I didn't think twice about it. Like it was always Not always, but it started becoming, well, this is going to be the last time. You dope fiends out there know what I'm talking about when you're like, I'm going to do the shot I'm going to do one today, one tomorrow. This is going to be the last time. So a lot of last times in my life. You know what I mean? Um, but I did really well lockdown time. I started writing after I read The Hot House by Peter Early. Once I started writing, I enjoyed it and I found something to do with my time. So when I went to the hole, I used to buck on cellies, even my brothers, except for Dusty. I would live with Dusty, but I was all about being single celled. Life, and I played the I don't have a life sentence and I don't give a fuck. And they did take a guy off the bus one time, and I said, if you try to put anybody in here, I'm going to assault him. I knew how to slip my cuffs. That's something we practice often, being a gang member. And as soon as they opened the door, I slipped my cuffs and I blasted the dude that I didn't even know, just because I didn't want to sell it. So I started thinking, if I go to ADX or Marion, then I won't be such a financial drain on my parents or have to ask friends for money or whatever. And I can write. I can sit there and work out. I did a lot of burpees. I wasn't a weight guy ever. Lots of burpees. I can do burpees for hours on end. Burpee King, no bullshit. Except some Serenios. I used to talk cash shit like I was the Burpee King of everything, and some Serenios put me to shame. Also, I did run a drug conspiracy when I was in prison on the street. I got busted for having drugs sent from California in the mail. 2 parts of the Midwest. When I got life, after a couple of years, I started doing the same exact conspiracy. Different connections. The people in Arkansas that dealt it were the same people. Made a bunch until I got burnt. Take your time. The interviews will fall right in. Keep it up. Thank you, Josh Wentz. Yeah, I had a buddy OD from Fenton and his coke. Wow, that's the meth, the creativity, the limo. Yeah, the limo, right? If you ever got into game, what profession would you have liked to have been in? A regular dude, 9 to 5 type job. Greg, okay, so I never had to think about what I was going to be when I grew up. My life was designed for me. And what I mean by that, yes, John Fox, 500 a gram. What I mean by that was this. My father, who recently died, was from this little town I'm in now. My grandfather was a coal miner. They went to California. My grandfather worked at Standard Oil, and my dad went to work in the labor's union. Now, this is the labor's and hod cares it was back in the day. Labor, as in the lowest man on the totem pole on the job site, but the union. So Labor's International North America is the actual name. My dad was a labor job steward, became a business agent working in the hall. Then he went up all the ranks like he was supposed to and did stuff for the International as well. So since I was like this big, I went to union meetings with them around the country. You take my family. And I remember, like, this is what you're going to be doing. When I was 17, I dropped out of school. They sent me to labor school. That's a thing. I started working, but I was selling cocaine. I got into coke. And I surfed. So there was 2 problems. Number one, sucks getting up at 5 to go to work when there's a good swell. You want to go surfing. Number 2, when you stay up all night on coke, it's hard to go to work. So and then when I'd get in my moods, I'd sit there and go, man, yeah, I was making $100 a day or whatever it was back in the 80s and 90s, but I can make more staying home. That's where I used to tell myself. So my life, I was going to be a business agent in the labor union. So this was the whole plan. It was planned out. Go to work in the field from 18 to 21. 21, he was going to make me a business agent. While I was a business agent, I was going to try to run for office, a vice president treasurer in the office. Then my dad was going to, when I was 25, he was going to retire, run another election. He never lost an election all the years, 20 something years. Nobody, matter of fact, he ran uncontested mostly. He was going to run again. And as soon as he got it, he was going to quit and then appoint me as business manager of the local. I'd have been 25 years old, company car, upper middle class income. And I remember telling my dad that I don't want to be like you, old man. Yeah, that I'm not going to go to work every day and da 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 da. And I forgot. So what did I do as a drug dealer? A lot. I went to hotel rooms. I spent a lot of time in hotel rooms. What did my dad do as a labor's union leader? He spent his time in hotel rooms around the United States. I stayed around Los Angeles most of the time until I moved to Arkansas. Then it was around Interstate 40 from Arkansas to Hot Springs. I mean, from Fort Smith to Hot Springs. So my dad won. I mean, he did like what I did. Only his hotels were all 5 stars, and the union paid for them. And every gas he ever put in his car, and every meal we ate. No, not every meal, but I mean, there's a lot of perks that come with the company. You guys know how union officials are, and he was actually an honest official. So you asked me a question. My life, it was never gonna. I never thought other than I was going to be that. I always thought I was going to get it together. I'll stop selling then. My first wife, we were junior high school sweethearts. When when she found out I was selling coke, when are you going to stop? When I make enough money to buy a house in San Pedro, uh, when are you going to stop? When I make 100,000, when are you going to stop? When are you going to stop? And I never made $100,000. I was a struggling drug dealer until 1996. uh, the case, the conspiracy that led to my life sentence was the first time I made real money off drugs. Yes, I 313 Detroit. Yes, I've been locked up with Detroit guys. Do you know Sam Riddle? Do you know who Sam Riddle was? Sam Riddle. I know a lot of the Detroit guys. And okay, so one of them I helped. I interviewed for Vice when he got out of prison on compassionate release. I was going to give him a job in Maine, as a matter of fact. Older black guy, just sold drugs all his life. He was 65 and he got out. Um, 300 to 1,000 Asian and the Dominicans a gram. Here's 80. We're at Chase like gram. Where's $80? That's on the high side. 80 in prison or on the outs. I'm talking about prison. Most in Philly don't ever sell it like the wax. But thank you for answering, Robert. Okay, no problem, Greg. Did I leave something? What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So I never made any real money until the last time I was out, and it just happened. It just like okay, so a pound of meth I can get for 3. They're 20,000 back here. Then I can sell 5 a week. A kilo I can get for 12.5. They were 25 to 30,000. Here I can sell way more than I ever tried to get. And pot was it doesn't matter. 100 pounds. I paid 500 a piece, and I sold them for 2,000 back here, or 1,000, just depend. So there was just so much money. And you know what I did with all my money except for $100,000, 109. You know what I did with it? Slot machines, gambling. Well, cars. Bought cars, 21 vehicles, 5 Corvettes. Bought 3 Corvettes before I went to sleep one day, on a tweak story. 2 trailers, 2 trailer houses in the country, a house that I never moved into in Russellville. Gave the couple $40,000 down on an owner financing, and bought a motel up in northern Arkansas. Was going to buy it, 20,000 down. Got busted. Never looked back. Yada 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 yada. Yeah, I was a fucking idiot. Okay, I was saying straight in prison. Yes, black dude was on the news here. Okay, yeah, you know about. So you know. Oh wait, the black dude that got out. You mean? I'm trying to think of the one that got out. Sam Riddle, political consultant or whatever. I see him. I have not talked to Sam. Me and Sam were pretty tight. And then somebody told me to ask him about. There was a girl that got killed in Detroit like years ago. It's like a famous story. I think Kirkpatrick was the politicians were involved. I didn't know nothing about Detroit politics, but Sam he liked that I was like the journalist in the prison. I kept writing and I didn't care. I didn't care what staff said. I didn't care what inmates said. Like I just did me. He loved that. And he kept encouraging me and said, I'm going to have a bright career. I'm going to get out one day. And one day, he was also friends with Michael Moore. Michael Moore, like the Michael Moore, film director guy, uh, liberal. I asked him some questions about Michael Moore that I've never would have wrote off the record. But Sam started, for whatever reason, he got a little weary of me. I don't know if staff turned him against. I don't know what happened. But the case, the murder thing freaked him out, and he told me not to ask him any questions no more. Also, him and his cellie got into a fight, and his cellie wanted to smut him up and put some real bad stuff out about him. And I almost did, but I couldn't do it. A lot of people from the Detroit Free Press were contacting me frequently. Christine McDonald, I think her name was. They wrote a lot about me in Detroit for a hot second because I knew Sam. So yeah, I made Detroit news. Yes, come on, Patrick. You know any Pittsburgh dudes? Troy Hockenberry is actually good friends. If you're talking about black dudes, yeah, of course. I just can't like right off the bat. I'm not hitting anywhere. I live in Florida now. Got sober 2002. Good evening. Okay, magnificent. Hey, okay. Soon. She was a stripper. Yes, that's it. You got it. Mayor Detroit. Yeah. Yeah. How much is a little bundle? You guys better be careful up there. At least you were buying houses, cars, motels. So yes, I was. Dealers don't. So I learned how to do owner financing. So owner financing is a big deal back here. That is, you go buy something from the owner and they finance it themselves. I used to go to them because I had drug money, and I'd say like, okay, this house is $50,000. Cool, I'll give you 50. Matter of fact, I'll give you 55. Here's the deal. I'm going to give you 300 or $500 a month pretty well, and that's how I would do a lot of stuff. Really great way to buy real estate now if you can. Yeah, I bought all that stuff, but let me tell you something. So I was married to crack. I was gonna say, hoe, whatever. Yeah, she really was like really was. She was from the trailer park and used to hang out in the hood. White girl, started smoking crack, hung around a lot of blacks, hung around a lot of trailer parks. So I thought I was going to save her when I got together with her. Look, I was, well, you guys can see how I am. I was a middle class person. And I'm not saying that like, oh, I was a middle class and I was going to, but that really I was. I was a surfer. I'd never been around the streets. I never been around the streets like that. She was a street hustler. Bitch hustled me. She brought me down to the street so fast. I thought I was going to pick her up out of the gutter. Shit. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, she had so much game. Anyway, why am I talking about Barbara? What did I do? Oh yeah, so we didn't have a marriage. It was sex. It was just drug sex. Match made in hell. I made over $100,000 like 33, 34 days after I started, and I remember counting it and like drinking Jack Daniels, and I was sad because my being my first wife, I have 3 kids with her. I felt like I wanted that family back, and it's like I dealt, and I used to say, oh, when I get 100,000, I'm going to stop. And here I had like 100,000, 109, 30,000 out with no end in sight. And I remember like, what am I doing? Why am I doing? What am I going to go from here? Woe is me, and I have 100,000. Oh, I'm so fucking dumbass. Unless it's for real China White. Okay. So hey, you guys, stop. Joe and you, bro. What am I wrong about? Kensington, somewhere 16. But okay, so you guys are doing you. Good content. Thank you, Arthur. Yeah, that's it. It was right. Looking towards the future. Depends who you're messing with. It used to be a little more. Okay, 72 people in chat. That means there should be 72 likes. Thank you, Magnificent. And there's only 50 something. Let's go. Just close a live chat. Hit thumbs up and reopen live chat. Are you telling me? Like, is that a thing? So, well, unless it's for real China White. Okay, so Yvonne, they're having a good time. Hey, they're having a good time. Just let them do them. That's cool. That's all it's about, right? People making friends. Just don't put me in your conspiracies. Okay, so it's been an hour, you guys. No live tomorrow. There's a possibility nothing might get out, but I can't see it. I can drive and do something, okay? So, and I also want you guys to weigh in about the time. Is this a good time? I don't want to do it an hour earlier. That's when Chad goes up. That would be killing myself. First of all, I don't want to do it out of respect for him, but it would be shooting my own foot. So, you know, oh yeah, they're doing talk out of style. Who cares? Yeah, no, hey, Jay, man, it's all good. I'm just saying. I always thumbs up before I come in. All right, we're not saying anything. I got you. You're right. You just took words from me, right? was that like a throwback on me? You're talking about all this shit, but you're saying everybody already knows it. So I got you. I'm just, hey, listen, it's good. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for your support. I'm going to keep plugging on no matter what. Do I have more haters than everybody else, or is this not? I don't know. Or, I'm not sure, but I'm going to take names of the haters and I'm going to do a video and I'm going to answer every one of them. There's some good ones, actually, but there's some real morons. It's like they're. All right. Good night. Be safe, especially you guys out there. Be safe. Don't do that. All right. Be good. Thank you. Appreciate it.